Education Minister reiterates importance of skills-based learning to drive down unemployment figures.
As we seek to address the issue of unemployability, it is prudent that we take a competency-based approach to education and training. It is well known that technical skills, and in particular ICT, will be the major drivers of economic activity in the 21st century.
Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the National Report, I'm Leslie Ann Johnson Cornwall. The importance of skills and ICT to match the demands of the job market has been highlighted yet again, this time during the graduation ceremony of the more than 800 students in the various divisions of the Tia Marichaud Community College. Delivering the charge to the students, Education Minister the Honourable Anthony Boson said the students must continue to learn, unlearn and relearn. He urged them not to become another unemployment statistic, but to get on the skills and ICT bandwagon for a prosperous future.
As we grapple with high unemployment, in particular among our youth, we must call to mind the skills gap that exists among this cohort. When unemployment is influenced by unemployability, it is a major issue for any education system. Therefore, as we seek to address the issue of unemployability, it is prudent that we take a competency-based approach to education and training. It is well known that technical skills, and in particular ICT, will be the major drivers of economic activity in the 21st century. In fact, it is projected that 80% of all jobs in the near future will be primarily skills-based and technology-driven.
The ceremony was held under the theme Reorienting the College Curriculum to Cultivate Authentic Learning Outcomes for Employment and Social Fortitude. The chairman and managing director of the Spice Island Beach Resort, Sir Royston Hopkin, is calling for serious discussion on the way forward for the tourism industry in Grenada. He was delivering the feature address at the 2017 graduation ceremony at the National Stadium, where more than 800 students graduated from the Tia Marichaud Community College. Sir Royston said it is time that more locals are involved in the sector at the managerial level, but avenues must be available for young people to take advantage of opportunities to do so.
I am challenging the government of Grenada, the private sector, the Hotel Association, TAMCC, to sit like yesterday in a symposium to discuss the way forward. So us Grenadians, I don't want to be the only person every year, ladies and gentlemen, telling you, this is Sir Royston of Spice. I am tired of hearing it. I want to see other role models coming through. It is an indictment on us as Grenadians to be touting one or two successful hoteliers, when the government of Grenada and the whole mood of the country is that we want investment and we want people to run it.
Sir Royston wants to see a hospitality degree program instituted by the year 2020 and a culinary program 2 years later. He stresses that there must be investment in youth, the future of Grenada.
We have to go off, just as how we go off to the funding agencies to get grant funding, so we can sit with the St. George's University and say to them, you have the framework to do the degree program. I am hoping that with the new ownership, you would have a different look. But even though we are stonewalled that it is not economically feasible, ladies and gentlemen, investing, it is not an expense for Grenada to take the initiative. It has to be an initiative led, because private sector cannot get grant funding, to establish and sit with the St. George's University and establish a program.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The Children's Carnival Frolic returns to the National Stadium on Saturday, August 5th. And this year, it's no exception to the fun and frolic experienced by our nation's children as they parade in colorful revelry. It's fancy masks, steel pen, calypso show.
I love Carnival. I love my mask.
It's the Children's Carnival Frolic National Stadium. Starting time 11 a.m. Admission adults $20, children pay $10. More at the door. So don't miss out on this sizzling array of colors. It's mass, pan, and calypso. The Children's Carnival Frolic. Saturday, August 5th. Bring your kids, bring every child, and have a ball.
Venezuela's resident ambassador in Grenada is calling on countries in the Caribbean and Latin America to understand the magnitude of what he calls a brutal threat issued by the U.S. The United States is planning strong and swift sanctions against the government of Venezuela if it moves ahead with plans to rewrite its constitution. Venezuelans opposed to the government of President Nicolas Maduro held a symbolic referendum on Sunday, voting overwhelmingly against efforts to change the political system and allow the current administration to stay in office indefinitely. But the Venezuelan government has planned its own election July 30th to create a constituent assembly that would rewrite the constitution. Resident Ambassador Jorge Veloz addressed the issue during a news conference on Wednesday.
We are not trying to take any decision that is not contemplated in the Constitution.
Y en consecuencia, nosotros podemos decirle al mundo
And in consequence, we could say to the world
que la constituyente va.
that the constituency is going.
El 30 de julio,
The 30th of July,
el pueblo venezolano
the people of Venezuela
podrá participar y elegir a sus 545 constituyentistas.
could participate and vote to elect the 545 constituents.
A date is being worked on following a formal written invitation from Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro to CARICOM Chairman, Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, for dialogue. President Maduro expressed that he wholeheartedly welcomes the valuable proposal contained in the communique following a recent CARICOM heads meeting in St. George's, offering the good offices of CARICOM to reactivate an agenda of constructive dialogue among the political sectors in that country. There is need for more private sector engagement, not just in the Caribbean, but with the U.S. as well, to minimize crime in the Caribbean. That's according to Mr. Kenneth Merton, Acting Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for the U.S. Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs. He was speaking on Wednesday on the U.S. State Department's multi-year Caribbean strategy, which was submitted to Congress on June 19. The strategy establishes a framework to enhance U.S.-Caribbean relations in security, diplomacy, prosperity, energy, education, and health. Merton says the U.S. focus through USAID has been enhancing the rule of law in the Caribbean, but there is need for more private sector involvement.
We're certainly going to redouble our efforts to engage. As I mentioned, we've had Undersecretary Shannon meet with the CARICOM heads of government, and our other engagement by senior officials at the State Department is ongoing. We think that continuing to work with these partners to strengthen their institutions, to increase their prosperity so that people don't need to resort to corruption to line their pockets are key initiatives. And I think one of the ways we can help do this is to increase private sector engagement in the Caribbean, not only private sector from the United States, but local private sectors. And I think this can serve as a type of inoculation against corruption.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson Cornwall.